Hello Ghana and welcome to another special edition of Iron Port. Iron Port is brought to you by the Royal Bank, also Star Assurance, Ghana Community Network Services and UT Logistics. Folks, this week, like I said, it's special. We are in TAKORADI, and like I've always been saying for the past weeks, the TAKORADI port is vibrant, it is working. Vessels are calling the port and vessels are also leaving the port. Cargo coming in and cargo going out. And we've been fortunate. We are standing here on the seas of the Republic of Ghana, and just behind me, that vessel right there that you see is the largest vessel in the world, the largest construction vessel, oil construction vessel in the world. You see by it Subsea 11, and by it you also see safety is first. This is where we begin this week's edition of Iron Port, and we're going to talk a lot more about the TAKORADI port, what is going on in the TAKORADI port, what is doing as far as becoming the oil and gas hub within the West African sub-region is concerned. Also talk about the other areas of export and import that the port is engaged in: bauxite, manganese, cocoa, and all of that. This port caters for that. It is gradually becoming the #1 oil and gas hub in the entire African region.
Contrary to speculations that the port of TAKORADI has been closed down due to the massive expansion works being undertaken there, management of the port has revealed that the port is operating at full capacity in spite of the enormous ongoing developmental project.
The port of TAKORADI is not closed. Operations are in full swing. What is happening is that the port is being expanded, and the expansion has not affected any current operations in the port.
TAKORADI port is very functional, very active, very vibrant. If anybody wants to export, he has to come to TAKORADI port. We're working as we used, and we are even working more now. I can say that manganese export like this have increased tremendously over the few years, and we are even looking up to a very high tonnage.
The expansion work, is not interfering in any way with our operations. You know, the beds are working, everybody is working in as much as the expansion work is going on. Ships are berthing and sailing. If there ought to be a delay, it's because the port is full and it's operating. That is why ships will need to stay at anchorage, not because the port is undergoing any expansion and modernization works.
Statistics indicate that vessel traffic through the port has significantly increased.
Since 2009, vessel calls to the port has doubled.
Normal export cargo, cocoa, some timber directs are still passing through the port. All exports are going on very well, and then the figures have even risen.
The way of doing things have changed over the years. We cannot still be in the colonial times. It means that we need to strategically position things. So the breaking down of structures is not in any way affecting port operations, but it's rather enhancing and making it more efficient. Management
of the TAKORADI port explained that several projects that are ongoing will soon position the port as a hub for oil and gas in the sub-region.
Offshore vessels normally are in need of fresh water, and with the support of our private partners, now we are distilling water in the port, so anytime they come to our port, we have enough water for them, and that gives us an advantage.
For TAKORADI, I think the big deal is oil and gas, and that is what the port is also fast tracking. And you know that the oil and gas hub will start to come into fruition, I think, by the last quarter of this year, when they start backfilling, to create the quayside space and terminal for the oil and gas hub. So it's moving steadily, nicely. Maybe more than we did expect, from experience.
If TAKORADI port is not developed to meet the oil exploration and production need, these companies will go to our neighboring ports who are more established in terms of port operation than us. So looking at that, management thought, why don't we then develop the port of TAKORADI to suit the needs of the oil and gas industry?
You see, things are moving the way that it ought to move, and if it goes on like that, there's no reason to believe that the port will not be a leader in oil and gas, service delivery in the sub-region. I think they've learned a lot from the experiences of other ports, so I think they are well informed to do what is right from day one.
The management also highlighted that a lot of efforts have been made to ensure that operations at the Port of Takoradi meet international standards.
Even though we are expanding, we are still trying to maintain standards. Especially, we have even upped our game with regards to the oil and gas sector. You know, the oil and gas sector is a very safety conscious area, and for them the standards are even higher than the commercial operations area. So I want to disabuse their minds of the fact that because we are expanding, we have lower standards.
Vessels that call the port have quick turnaround time. Cargoes are delivered efficiently. Proximity to the hinterland. We are the safest in the sub-region. We have done a survey among the vessels that call the port, spoken to the captains, and they will tell us that when we come to Takoradi Port, we can sleep and relax.
Even before they engage you to work there, they want to see the certification for your equipment, certification for even the personnel, the number of hours that have been trained within a period.
One of the beautiful things about Takoradi Port is that it is easy to get to decision makers during operational challenges. We believe in sitting down with us and let us judge and see how best we can help solve your challenge for you.
For many agents of the Port of Takoradi and other port users, the expansion work so far will ease the cost of doing business at the port.
The idea of relocation, realignment and the other things are all to reduce the cost of port operations, so that at the end of the day, when you go to the market, the goods will not be that expensive. Remember, for the businessman, time is money.
I expect especially next year to be quite busy, because the TEM project will have come fully on stream. There is this OCTP project coming on, Technique is coming. So you have about 3 or 4 wells operating. And it means there will be a lot of influx of vessels, and it comes along with service delivery. You know, people require fabrication, people require, betting space, people require logistics and all that. People require air freight shipments, cargo moving in and out, ashore to offshore and everything. So it's going to be quite very busy in the near future, especially for next year to 2016. The port should see a lot of oil and gas activity.
This all should tell you that as a country and as far as this sector is concerned, people know and people believe that we are poised to take control.
The Port of Takoradi, as part of efforts to increase its efficiency, has introduced innovative ways of doing business at the port besides the magnificent expansion works going on there. One of such innovations is the bulk loading of manganese at the anchorage of the port through a transshipment activity.
So the port, in its collaborative spirit, decided to ensure that maximum manganese is shipped out of the port. Contacted Ghana Manganese together with this private company from the Netherlands to do this transshipment of manganese outside the port, that's at the anchorage. So what happens is that there is a shuttle vessel called the Jill that comes to the port, loads and come to offload into the Gdansk. As you can see over there, the Gdansk has a capacity of about 100,000. So the Jill does the shuttle, it offloads into the Gdansk, which is like a floating storage facility. Then bigger vessels like you see the blue one, comes in, then loads up to about 100,000 tons. So you might think in the port that a lot of activities might not going on, but when you come to the anchorage, you see that through the innovative and collaborative ideas of the port together with its stakeholders, a lot is going on at the anchorage.
Peter Bediako, Acting Marketing and Public Relations Manager of the Port of Takoradi, took the Iron Port team closer to the manganese transshipment activity at the anchorage of the port, demonstrating that the port is even more active now in the midst of the expansion work than presumed. It was also revealed that the Takoradi port now exports greater amount of manganese at a cheaper cost than before as a result of the transshipment innovation introduced by the port.
Manganese export through the port has now increased. Last year, for example, it had jumped from 1.2 million tons the previous year to 2 million tons. And this year, we think that vessel manganese exports through the port is going to increase.
The management of TAKORADI Port also intends to increase export of bauxite from 800,000 metric tons to 3 million metric tons through an impending joint project soon to be rolled out.
Bauxite, for example, they have plans of increasing their export from 800 metric tons on an annual basis, 800,000 metric tons to about 3 million. That's the plan. So management has also been discussing with them to see how best we can support them to ensure that they increase their exports through the port.
Also, a number of projects going on, a number of works going on. Very, very soon we are told that we are going to see supply vessels being repaired, services of supply, oil supply vessels being done in the TAKORADI port, and that's just coming up in about 2 months from now.
Subsea 7, a highly acclaimed construction company in the oil and gas industry in the world, has completed a fully operational and highly active fabrication yard for the construction of suction pipes at the port of TAKORADI.
Basically, we are well positioned with the assistance of GPHA to work for all the new projects coming into Ghana.
In the oil and gas industry, suction pipes are used to supply fluids necessary for chemical processing, which is key in preventing oil pollution through oil well drilling in the sea.
These piles are anchoring system for subsea production system. So it's going to be inserted in the mud on the deep water. On top of it, you can see there is a pin, so alignment system. We put a deep water manifold on top of it to collect all the different wellhead to one main line.
If not for the construction of the fabrication yard, which has so far built some good number of suction pipes, Ghana would have been importing suction pipes from South Africa or Norway. Subsea 7 is now one of the major international oil companies that have established its base at the port of TAKORADI, cementing the status of the port as the oil and gas hub in the sub-region.
It will be easier for the oil and gas industry provider to be all at the same place, first of all. It will be also a benefit for the country to keep one pole of knowledge in the same area, so we can easily adapt to the demand of the majors.
The company has so far trained about 96 Ghanaians in the construction of suction pipes, with some of its workers being exported to South Africa, Netherlands and elsewhere.
For us, we'll continue in developing our local content plan. This is the main part for us. We are bringing new equipments in the coming weeks in the yard, in the fabrication factory. So the idea is for us to train local engineers, to do engineering in country, to develop the fabrication skills in country, and to also train more people for the operation offshore.
Pundits believe that the increasing presence of multinational oil companies like Subsea 7 building their bases in Ghana, the country's oil sector will soon be the envy of the region.
Also, folks, we're still standing here on the seas of Ghana, and right behind me, it's at the anchorage of the TAKORADI port, and behind me there is the largest construction vessel, oil construction vessel in the entire world, as you see behind me. It's by 7 Seas, and they have been doing a number of work in the port as well. Also, this week, like I've been saying, we are trying to tell you that the port of TAKORADI is highly vibrant and a lot of work is going on here. Vessels keep flying in and out, and also vessels keep going in and out, and cargo keep going back and forth. Let's return pretty shortly after the break and we'll continue with Iron Port. Stay with us.
Sing about there ain't no limitations to your amazing grace, your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you. There's a place in my heart that makes me feel that you're the one. It's a place I wanna be, 'cause satisfaction guaranteed. From strength to strength you help me grow, 'cause you're there for me. And teach me how to be independent, 'cause you
the Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
Bank you with transparency, commitment to integrity.
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank. The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank. Real banking, real difference.
UT Logistics have come to stay. When you approach a job like the way we approach it, each job is unique. Each client is unique. We provide the best service in the system. We have best staff. We are very fast. We are quick, and we save customers a lot of money.
Day in and day out, there are a number of issues happening within the port and maritime sector, and I have been bringing those news items to you. Coming up next on your screens are some of those activities and news that take place within the port and maritime industry, including even the seas.
The Oil Jetty Safety Committee, comprising the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the National Petroleum Authority, and other stakeholders have held a simulation exercise to test the preparedness of the committee to handle spillage at the oil jetty in the port of Tema. The mock exercise was as part of the Oil Jetty Safety Committee's quarterly meetings to look at the safety and operations going on at the terminal.
A vessel called MT Nora was at the jetty discharging when the hose got burst, and then the master called, operations were shut down, and then GPHA with the stakeholders deployed our emergency team. Our oil spill equipment went to the site, and then we were able to contain it in good time.
A vessel called MT Nora, which was at the oil jetty and discharging, had its hose burst, hence spilling oil in the process.
The MPA, GPHA, and all the stakeholders who use the jetty, we have the Oil Jetty Safety Committee meeting, and we meet every quarter. Look at the safety at the terminal. Okay. So Tema Loop Oil, as part of their safety requirements, requested that the Oil Jetty Safety Committee partner them in having an oil spill drill. So a team was set up. They drew the plan, and then today we went into action.
The master of the vessel then placed a call to the harbour master, who quickly mobilized the emergency response team with the oil spill equipment to put the situation under control. The team moved in rapidly to survey the situation by employing a boom and a skimmer to prevent the oil spillage from spreading.
We deployed the oil boom to contain the spillover oil within reasonable limits, so as to not overflow too much of the vessel. So we contain it with our oil boom deployed, and then we have a skimmer that went there to suck the oil on the water surface. So this oil will be transferred to the shore facility for disposal.
The oil jetty in Tema Port is a strategic asset for the country, which is the only terminal that receives gas to the eastern part of the country. It also receives lube oil for the Tema Lube Oil Company, hence measures to avert spillage at the oil jetty.
Oil went into the sea, and we were able to quickly mobilize our contingency plan, mobilize our sea crafts, and we have an equipment that is oil boom on board our sea craft, which we were able to deploy in a good time to contain the oil.
Few days ago, the world's largest port situated in the Chinese port city of Tianjin exploded, leaving lots of lives lost and properties destroyed. The disaster has been a wake-up call for safety managers of Ghana's ports.
The Ministry of Health has begun clearing consignments of medical supplies abandoned at the Tema port since 2013. So far, the Ministry of Health has successfully cleared medical items, including theatre beds and other equipment that were shipped into Ghana by the Ghana-Australia Association to be given to charity. The move follows Eye on Port's coverage of the abandoned items at the state-bonded warehouse due to poor documentation on the part of the importer and lackadaisical attitude on the part of procurement officials of the Ministry of Health for over a year. In mid-May this year, Eye on Port got a call from Ghana-Australia Association located in Australia capital, Canberra, that they had sent medical items meant for charity to Ghana, but they cannot find it.
These items were shipped from Australia. They arrived here sometime in October, and up to today we don't know where the items are.
Eye on Port then first obtained copies of documents on the entire transaction of shipping, including the bill of lading of the cargo and other relevant correspondence. It was revealed that the container had the medical items also had an individual's personal effects in them. Unfortunately, on the bill of lading, all the items in the container was consigned to the owner of the personal effects called one Frank Issa, but the medical items in the container had also been labeled Ministry of Health. Upon citing the items labeled Ministry of Health, yet had no mention on the bill of lading and any other document, Customs decided to detain the items that were labeled Ministry of Health, awaiting permits from the Ministry of Health. At this point, Frank Issa, in whose name all the items was consigned, only needed his household items, amended the bill of lading, separated his household items from the medical items, and cleared them, then returned to Australia. The Ghana-Australia Association then concluded that the items were missing. Eye on Port was led to the state warehouse by Customs to see all the medical items belonging to Ghana-Australia Association.
This is a consignment belonging to the Ghana-Australian Association Incorporated, Caribbean, Australia. The goods were actually dispatched from the CFS, GPHA CFS. So, having got to the state warehouse, our officers had to detain the consignment.
According to Customs, the association had poor documentations which did not allow them to release the goods for clearance. Indeed, the Ghana-Australia Association admitted that their documentations were porous.
So there are lessons to be learned from both sides. I also say that yes, there was a mistake also from us, but there was a mistake from the Ministry of Health.
The Ministry of Health also admitted that they could have been more proactive.
On our part as a ministry, we could have also done some due diligence by going to the ports and asking them to do the right.
Since the report, the Ministry of Health tasked Ghana Supply Commission to undertake the necessary process to ensure the release of the items. Finally, the Ministry of Health has been able to secure the release of the medical items which had been abandoned at the port for close to 2 years now.
Today, we have gotten all the necessary documentation and we are taking the consignment from the Customs State Warehouse.
They have been very fortunate to have their cargo maybe intact. It would have been an unfortunate situation if they had perishable items in them.
The shipping agency for the Ministry of Health also advised individuals who ship goods in the name of the Ministry of Health.
When the shipment is being made, the bill of lading should be given to the company on time so that they can also follow on the exemption letter so as to clear the goods from the port within the 21 days so that it will not attract any huge demurrage and rent for the client to bear.
Anytime you import cargo into this country and you intend the cargo for a particular institution, even if you should indicate your name on the BL, you must attention that particular institution so that they'll be aware that they have a cargo of that nature within the state warehouse. If that is not done, at the end of it all, you might end up losing your cargo, maybe through auction or maybe through destruction.
Meanwhile, about 9,000 containers belonging to individuals and organizations have been abandoned at the port, are waiting to be cleared and creating congestion.
Periodically, we have been publishing most of the cargo which enter into the country and which go on the UCL in the Gazette. So what should happen is that once a while, they must also pick copies of this Gazette and go through. In case they have any consignment in the port, they should make a follow-up to the state warehouse and then make up the necessary arrangements and then pick them up.
Institutions like Ministry of Health, ECG, TOR, Ghana Water Company, Cocoa Board, Nestle, Ministry of Agriculture, and Volta River Authority, among many others, have abandoned containers in the port and creating congestion and denying Ghana revenue. Iron Port will soon be publishing the names of the companies.
The national leadership of the Maritime and Dock Workers Union has entreated local union executives of various organizations to be united in order to champion the interest of members. Addressing newly elected 11-member executives of Junior Staff Union of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, the chairman of the National Maritime and Dock Workers Union, David Songotu, called for unity of purpose on the leadership front of workers.
Tonight, you look like a team and remain as a team. Work together. Bury your differences and then be able to work together. And please, forget about who voted for you and who didn't vote for you.
He promised that the National Union will do all it can to ensure unity at the workers' front. Marketing and Public Relations Manager of Tema Port, Paul Asariansa, debunked allegations of the use of juju prior to the elections.
The story claiming that juju is, environment of juju is rife in the port, I don't believe that. The ability to achieve success depends on how hard you will work.
He explained that worker unionism is significant for organizational development.
Essence of leadership is to be given the opportunity to advance the fortunes of members of the union and also be the interface between the organization and the workforce. And we believe that they have the understanding that their role is to facilitate or to improve good working relationship between management and the workforce.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority has launched its Retired Junior Staff Association with a dedicated office.
Our efforts today will make the Retirees Association a vibrant one.
Jacob Adoko advised the retirees to invest their incomes wisely and ensure a healthy lifestyle in order to have an active, long life.
Smoking increases your chances of heart disease and cancer. So consider taking the plunge into non-smoking as you enter retirement.
The chairman of the Retired Junior Staff Association commended management of Ghana Port and Harbours Authority for their support.
And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you.
Banking with transparency, commitment to integrity. The Royal Bank, the Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank, real banking, real difference.
We've all heard stories about ports, about difficulties and challenges at the port. We think that to bring transparency to the port is very important for both the end consumers and even the people, some of the agents who work within the port. This program is very, very critical, and I think everybody who is involved in the port, in businesses that has impact on the port one way or the other, should make it a point to view it.
Well, shadows of vessels sitting in the port, including the largest vessel, construction vessel in the world, plus all those vessels that are behind there, here at the anchorage of the TAKORADI port, plus many more, are next on your screens. Well, folks, so as we sail off away from the largest construction vessel in the world, I can only say a big thank you for watching. We'll be back same time on this same platform with Iron Port. A big thank you to my entire crew, Prince Bruce Lamte, also Godwin Kabute, Peter Bediako, and the executive producer, Paul Asari Ansa.